Welcome everybody to another brand new episode of It's My Wrestling Podcast Indie Wrestling Spotlight Series. The series, I think I'm about 5 episodes in now, where I just basically like to give a bit of a shine, try and get some eyes on independent wrestling as a whole. Some of these guys in the independent scene are so hardworking, more hardworking than you or I, so it's nice to sort of try and get their names out there a little bit. Even if it's just a little bit, I feel like I've done something good for the industry as a whole. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. But yeah, today's guest is a man I'm very excited to talk to. He's done some pretty cool stuff over the years. He's been wrestling for about 23 or 24 years, give or take. He is, of course, the one and only Mr. Joey Knight. Joey, thank you for joining me, man. How's it going?
Hello. Pleasure to be here. I agree with everything you said in the beginning as well. Shine a spotlight on us with action figures. Oh, yeah.
I was going to ask you about that because I saw that you've been posting about it recently. What's it like to have an action figure? Because that's surely got to be a
Yeah.
dream for a lot of wrestling fans growing up.
Exactly. It's insane, like insane. And it was the dream. Like you said, I've been wrestling for like a long time. Didn't realize that long. It's like, oh
Yeah, no
God,
worries.
I'm really old. And I always said to myself, like the top of the mountain, the one thing I need to achieve, you're not a real wrestler until you have your own action figure. And it's been like you said, it's been years. And I was like, oh no, I shouldn't have boasted that I need my own action figure or I failed. And it took a long, long time, but finally it has happened. And it's just so insane. And we are like right now, basically the figures are all done and they're being shipped from China here to get shipped out to the rest of the world. So it's like the finish line. 'Cause it's such a scary thing because action figures take so long to make.
Hmm.
And there's been a few times in my career where I was like at this point where you're just about to get something and the rug will get pulled out from under you. So I was like, oh, so it's been so creepy. But like just yesterday they sent me a picture of the finished product in the package and everything. So I'm like, yes, it's succeeded. It's gotten all the way to, so as long as it doesn't, sink on the way from China or something like that, we are good. We are good success. But it's crazy. And to see the process, because it's Cella Toys, the toy company that's gifted me with this action figure, which with my dreams. They're the dream makers, Cella Toys, everybody. Uh, it's so cool to see because it's just the whole, like when you daydream, because I'm just obsessed with toys anyways. Regardless, I've always been obsessed with wrestling toys. Whether it's not just because I wanted my own, but it's just as a kid, I'm just a toy person to this day. I'm still toys. Like if you look over here, if I move the camera, it's just toys everywhere there. And to have it, you see all the stages because they do all the stages from the concept 2D drawing from Brian Tipping, and then it gets 3D rendered, and then you see the resin prototype come out, and then that resin prototype becomes a plastic mold, and then that plastic mold gets a little color on it. And Chella's probably annoyed with me because every step of the way is like, ooh, can I have pictures? Ooh, can I have pictures? Ooh, does it have eyebrows yet? Ooh, does it have, does it have teeth yet? Ooh, stuff like that. So it's just been a dream come true for me. And Chella is like, it's just happened to be like perfect because Chella is so good with me and so good with their people. But they've been answering all my requests, and there's been many, many requests. So thank you, Chella, for putting up with me. We're almost there, Chella. Once the toy's done, I'll probably leave it alone for a little bit. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. That's cool that they've given you like updates as the whole thing's gone along, so you can see it bit by bit as it sort of like evolves and grows into the final
Yeah.
product. Did they get in touch with you to make the product, or did you reach out to them?
So it's been something that I've always been like just hunting for, like toy companies that are upstart companies. And like I said, there's been a few times where we got to a point where there was something going on and then it just all fell apart. So I'm usually, like, I used to live in Tampa, Florida, moved to Manchester now, and Cella just happens to be a UK based toy company. And like I said, being a toy fanatic, I'm always on these toy websites, and there's wrestling figure websites about action figures, wrestling forums, and all that stuff. And I saw that the first figure, there was a Nick Aldis toy that they made. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, I have to see this. So I started researching the website. I started looking at, like, listening to podcasts about Cella Toys. And right away, I was sending them emails like, "Hey, by the way, I'm this guy. I've been in this movie. I've done this and this and this. Is there any way we could work together in action figure?" It's just like, waiting with bated breath. And then they said, "Yeah, let's do something." It's like, oh my god. So then from there, it was just making sure I didn't drop the ball on my end for it to get to this point. But yeah, it was me that reached out to them because I've just been obsessed with it, and I lucked out because I got a hold of Cello when they're really, really new. So they only had one figure out at the time. The Blue Meanie one was just about to come out when I was like hammering them with requests for action figures. So I think I hit that sweet spot because since then they have blown up. Like it's gone crazy. Some of the guys they've signed up. So I think I'm just extremely lucky at that point where I caught them at just like at their birth. So they had a little more leeway. They're so busy now that I don't know if I asked them at this point if they'd actually be able to do it for me because they're just overwhelmed with figures coming out.
That's really
So
cool, man. Like I'm a little bit of a collector. Not so much figures, but I collect pop vinyls, especially wrestling related.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
Not that many compared to some people. I think I've got about 70. They used to be on this wall behind me, but they're in the garage now. So man, that's awesome. That would be like the dream for me as well.
See, and that's what I thought because when I was fighting with my family, they make pop vinyls of literally anything in entertainment, like every single thing. They made one of those pop figures of. So I'm like, well, this is it. This is my action figure. They're gonna make the guy from Fighting with My Family, and it never happened. And I was like, why? So that was one of those times too. I was like, this is I was a shoe in. It's like I have lines in a movie with Vince Vaughn. I'm that guy about an action figure. It's like they'll definitely make one of those. I even like was tweeting, you know, I was tweeting the company and saying, hey, gonna make a Joey toy yet? They never.
Oh man, that's a shame. You never know. It still might happen. It still might
They
happen.
say you never know. They're not always
You
like
never know.
timely with it. Yeah.
Never say never.
Funko. Yeah. Funko, if you're listening, we still need a Joey
I'll
Pop.
tag them. I'll tag them in this and try and make them listen.
There you go.
Absolutely. So, I mean, you mentioned it in there, and I was going to come to that at some point anyway. You mentioned Fighting with My Family. Like, I know you've had roles in movies like 3 Batman movies, and obviously Fighting with My Family. Like, how do these opportunities keep coming up for you? Are you passionate about acting? Is that something that you always wanted to do, or was wrestling always like your main goal?
Wrestling was always the main goal. If there was a second choice, it would be acting 100%. And I'm like one of those people, like my wife says, like there's those people like Jim Carrey's big on it, Ask the Universe, like just make things happen for you. And my wife's like, you are one of those people, you just make things happen for you, don't you? And that's it. I said, like, I want to be in a Batman movie. So I made it happen where the first one I was in was Dark Knight. The Dark Knight was the first one I was in. We were in Kentucky because we were wrestling for OVW. And I just, like I said, I just searched out where Batman was filming, and it was filming in Chicago, which is like 5.5 hours away from Kentucky. So I figured out what casting agency was doing the casting. So I joined the casting agency, and they said, "Oh, are you local?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm local. I live in Chicago." Like, "Okay, we're only taking local people." I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "What's your address?" I'm like, I'm living with a friend, so I'll have to give you that address later. So, because really, I was 5 hours away. So I joined with them. I figured out the name. They're filming under the name Rory's First Kiss because if they call it like Batman, people are all going to go crazy to jump on the set. So I figured that out, and then I just kind of kept applying for the jobs and weaseling my way in. And the last couple of days of filming, they said, "Hey, are you available for this movie, Rory's First Kiss?" And it's filming tomorrow morning. I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure, I'll make it." And then I just hopped in the car, drove 5.5 hours to Chicago, slept in the back seat of the car because they film at like 5:30 in the morning. You have to be there. So then I did a couple days on the set with Batman, and then Dark Knight Rises came about, so I did the same thing, same process. And then Justice League came about in England, so I did the same thing there. And the Batman with Robert Pattinson, that one too. So I've just been like checking off the Batman movies. Yeah.
So what were you just? Was it a non-speaking role? Was it an extra role or?
Those ones are just non-speaking roles, extra roles in the background. Yeah. In the background, like there's one scene where he crashes his Lamborghini in the Dark Knight, and I'm just walking around the background. I'm standing behind him when he's talking to Commissioner Gordon, and he smashed the car up, and then I get blown up in the Dark Knight Rises when Bane blows up the stadium.
Yeah, cool.
Zack Snyder's Justice League. I had to wait like 5 years for Zack Snyder's version of Justice League to come out because I'm in that Flash scene where the Flash is like moving the hot dogs away and stuff, saving Iris in the Zack Snyder one. I'm in the background there. And then there's a cemetery scene in the new Batman where it's just Batman and Catwoman on motorcycles, and I'm just in the background there. But I'm a small piece. I'm a Gothamite like many times in my life. Yeah.
Yeah, man. A small piece of 3 and maybe 4 of like the biggest grossing films of the last.
Yeah. So it's cool.
That's fine. Yeah, that's
yeah,
fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
What's the best
like
Batman film? What's the best Batman film?
Oh yeah. What is the best one?
Yeah. What's your favorite?
Oh, oh
For me,
it
people
might
always.
even, it might be the 1989 one. I used to always think it was Batman
Okay.
Returns, and I think as I get older, things different. I have a real like soft spot for like the 60s Batman one, but I think movie wise, I probably 1989 Batman. I'd say I'm going to say that. That's what I'm going to say
Was it
with Jack
89?
Nicholson and Michael Keaton. I'm going to do that.
Keaton, yeah, yeah. Batman Begins for me. People are always confused when I say that, but
Oh yeah,
I like an origin story.
yeah.
Who played Liam Neeson?
Liam Neeson, yeah, yeah.
Ra's al Ghul.
Was Ra's al Ghul. Yeah, see, that's true. That's one of the ones that I'm super super connected to because I really like the origin story, and it's like it really fleshes out Bruce Wayne for
Yeah.
like the first time, and it's really like a Bruce Wayne movie, and I think that's just so cool. Yeah,
Even
I
though
liked all the
everybody
like,
knows the origin story, a bit like Spider-Man, we all know it, but we still enjoy seeing it redone like 15 times.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's done in a different way. I like
Yeah.
that's the thing. I really like Bruce Wayne almost more than Batman. I like Robin a lot. I named my kid Grayson, so like, yeah, like really like it's the secondary characters. I love Batman, but the secondary characters, like the other versions, like the Bruce Wayne and stuff, really like connect with me for some reason. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Awesome. Right, let's talk about get back to wrestling because you are a
Sure.
wrestler. So let's talk about wrestling. I wanted to ask about some of the things that you've done in WWE because obviously that's
Yeah.
it's the dream, it's the goal for a lot of young wrestlers or sort of wrestlers trying to break into the business. Obviously, over the years, it has obviously come out that maybe it's not so much the dream, and obviously there are now alternatives. But you've made a few appearances in WWE. I know you did stuff with Crime Time. Obviously, Donald Trump, you were a druid for The Undertaker. Again,
Mhm.
similar question to the movie roles. Like, how do these opportunities come about, and how do you keep getting the opportunities? Because, you know, you don't very often see the same person come back to do multiple
Right, right.
segments
Yeah.
unless they're signed. So, how does that happen?
Perseverance, especially with wrestling, like it is just that was back like in the day where you would just hammer them with tapes and VHS tapes even. So we would
Yeah.
from the get-go when we started. So it's me and my brother. We were always wrestling fans, always just beating each other up in the living room, always just saying one day we'll be wrestlers, one day we'll be wrestlers. And all of our friends would be like, oh yeah, one day we'll do that too. But my brother, who's the sexy monkey Rob Nightwing, also known as Patrick in the real world, he is a couple of years older than me. So when I was still in high school, he left high school and he went to the real world and got a job or two. And he came home one weekend. We were living in Niagara Falls. He was working in Toronto, and he said, "The real world sucks. Let's just be wrestlers, like we always said." So I said, "Okay." And then when I graduated high school, the first thing we did, we had to hunt down the Hart Dungeon. We had to call it ourselves. Again, it's just you did it ourselves. So we looked through a phone book. We got a Calgary phone book. We lived in Niagara Falls. We looked up the last name Hart, and we called every Hart until we got Stu Hart. Literally, Stu Hart answered the phone, and we said, "Hey, we're two guys that want to wrestle. Will you let us wrestle?" He's like, you want to wrestle?" It's like, "Yeah, we want to wrestle." And they said, "If you move to Calgary, which is like it's in the other side of Canada, it's like if you move here, we'll train you." So we did. We packed up and we moved. And I like literally just got out of high school. I think I graduated high school when I was 17 because I got into school early, so it was a little So just before I was 18, we moved to Calgary on a whim and stayed at a bed and breakfast and got beaten senseless in the dungeon for years by Bruce Hart and Smith Hart and Ross Hart, and Stu was still alive then, and even British Bulldog was there, Owen Hart was there, Bret Hart was there. It was insane. But for us, like watching it, we thought that wouldn't be somewhere you ever like actually see, never mind wrestle in. And we've always had these things like when we were watching wrestling as kids, I always say we see the guy opening the door for King of the Ring. We said, "Oh my God, if I could just be that guy, my life would be complete." That's like because you're part of it, you're there. I see it, and like you said, when you're a super fan, you see all the little things, you go crazy, you recognize people in the audience that you've seen before, and so we were always like that. We're like, "Oh, if I could just be that guy, oh, that'd be so amazing. Oh, if I could just be a druid for the Undertaker, can you imagine? Can you imagine if you're a druid for the Undertaker?" And we would do that. You just send tapes and keep saying, "Hey, it's me. Hey, it's me. Hey, it's me," and get nope, nope. We don't need you. You're too short. You do this. You do that. Nope, 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 nope. And then finally, there's some people where it connects, and it was Tommy Dreamer and Mike Bucci. So we made our way to OVW at that time, and we were training in OVW in Kentucky, and they just said, "You guys are nice guys. You're always putting yourself forward. And you're not causing trouble." And they just would start calling us up, and then you go there and you don't cause trouble. you're not too quiet that nobody notices you, but you don't cause trouble, so you get in trouble, which is very easy to do. At least back then, it's very easy to get on somebody's bad side. So you just did a good job. You said yes when they had, training in the ring. You don't hide. You go in there and you do your stuff. You're just nice to everybody. You say your hellos and all that stuff. And as long as you don't goof up, they'll say, you know what, that guy didn't goof up. He keeps bugging us for a part. Let's give him another part. So that's it. Just perseverance. And then when you get there, you don't screw up too bad. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I'm always curious because you do tend to see the same people going back and going back and going back, but then they don't like stay. They don't sign. Like, was there ever any sort of discussion about you staying more long term and doing anything, or was it purely just sort of like extra work?
There was, but it's just that was at a time at OVW where so many things were changing. It's like it went from Jim Cornette was there, and then it went to Paul Heyman took over, and then Johnny Ace kind of got involved. Once Johnny Ace was involved in the hiring, it's everybody was 6 feet. Like if you weren't 6 foot, if you didn't have abs, there wasn't a spot for you. So at that point, it kind of like there was talks going on, and then when that hit, it's like okay, the talks are now over with basically. But there was rumblings before, which was it's just amazing when that's happening. Yeah.
Awesome, man. I wanted to ask about a couple of people that you sort of like mixed it up with or might have worked with. So obviously you were shaved by Donald Trump. That must have been pretty
Yeah.
real. Obviously many years before he was president, but he was still a larger than life character. So like, what was he like? Did you have many interactions with him?
Exactly. Yeah, that was like one of the really like that definitely the weirdest like job. Never mind even just wrestling job. The weirdest job is that time Mike Bucci called the house in Kentucky, and I was living with Beth Phoenix in Kentucky. We were training at OVW. He called Beth Phoenix's phone. He said, "Hey, would Joey and Patrick would they be interested in like getting their head shaved by Donald Trump?" And so she put the phone there. She's like, "Do you want your head shaved by Donald Trump?" And I was like, I thought it was a rib or some kind of joke. So I'm like, we'll call them back. So I don't understand. Like, I don't understand what's the punchline here. Where's this get to the point where they just laugh at us and hang up? And then I was like, well, don't hang up the phone. Wait. It's like, you know what? Even if it's a joke, this is the weirdest thing I've ever been asked. Like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go for it. So she said, yeah, they'll do it. And they flew me and Patrick to Detroit for WrestleMania 23 because they said Donald Trump requested to practice on somebody's head because he's never done any manual labor in his life. So he doesn't know how to use hair clippers. That little button you flick.
Believe that,
so he's like, yeah. So he's like, I don't know how to flick that button. I don't want to do a bad job on live TV. So fly somebody to Detroit. Let me shave their heads. They had both of us waiting, and they only used my head because he knew how to flick the trigger. But it was me and Patrick waiting outside. Then they got taken into Donald Trump's locker room. It's this huge locker room he had to himself. Leather couches everywhere, leather sofas, and I was sat down in a chair. Donald Trump's behind me, and I'm staring at the mirror at Donald Trump, and then Stone Cold Steve Austin's on this side, and Vince McMahon's on this side, and Bobby Lashley's over here, and they're all talking about the match and everything. And I remember Donald Trump talking to Vince. He's like, I know Kung Fu, so if you want me to get physical, I can get real physical. I can do Kung Fu moves. And you see Stone Cold Steve Austin and Vince look at each other and then roll their eyes and like, no, we're okay. We're okay, Trump. You're good. Don't worry, Donald. And they're looking at each other like, this guy's a lunatic. And I'm sitting there like just trying not to laugh as I'm seeing all this unfold. And it's just such a bizarre experience. So then we got our head shaved. We got to go to the WrestleMania after party that night. And that was just an experience all in itself. Like, you're dancing with Jeff Hardy and Ric Flair's there, and Vince McMahon's showing up, and it's just like the most epic after party you can imagine. Ice sculptures, WrestleMania ice sculptures, and all this stuff. And it's just to be backstage is cool. To be backstage at WrestleMania is insane, and to get a paycheck and the paycheck says WrestleMania on it. Me and Patrick are like, oh my god, we got paid for WrestleMania. So we have it framed. We have the worst paycheck. We got paid $5 on a check, so we didn't even cash it for a show we did. We're like, you know what, it's $5. They're paying us in a check. They don't have the money. Just so we framed the check for $5 and the check from WrestleMania all in the same frame to see like how far we've come in wrestling. So that was very, very cool.
Man, that's such a surreal story. Like, oh, what did you get up to at the weekend? Oh, I just went and got my head shaved by Donald Trump, and Vince McMahon was there.
I literally did that. I was working at Toys R Us at the time in Kentucky. So I was working at Toys R Us. Like I said, I'm obsessed with toys. I was wrestling in Kentucky, working at Toys R Us. I left for the weekend. I came back with my head shaved, and people are like, why did you cut all your hair off? It's like, oh, I went to WrestleMania, got my head shaved. And they're like, shut up. And then I showed them a picture of me and Donald Trump. I was like, yeah, Donald Trump shaved my head. And they're like, shut up. So I thought I was just lying. And for the rest of the time I worked there, they thought, that's a weird guy that pretended he got his head shaved by Donald Trump. So they just thought I was a lunatic for the rest of the time I worked there. Yeah.
Oh man, that's so just strange, so
It's just
strange.
surreal. Yeah, life is weird
Love that.
sometimes.
I wanted to ask again another question about what you did with Crime Time. I know it was like one segment you did with Crime Time. What I really want to ask about Shad Gaspard, like, did you get to know him at all? Did you get to have any conversations or any time with him? Because obviously, what happened, like, I think it was just over a year ago now when he sadly passed.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm really interested to know if you know anything about the man, and because he just seemed like such a good person.
Yeah, like without a doubt, no word of a lie, one of the nicest people, especially in my OVW experience. One of the nicest people there was Shad, and he's the reason I got that spot. Like he's such a huge, towering guy, and you thought, oh, he's going to be the guy that's because OVW it was rough, and there was like a lot of attitude, and there was a lot of the people weren't super nice there. Honestly, there's a like that's the point of wrestling where it's like, okay, it's more of a job here and it's not that fun. There's a lot of ego and a lot of attitude, but this towering human being was the nicest guy. And he always came over and he's hugging me and he was best friends with my mom. And
Hmm.
uh, he was the one, he said, we got to get you a spot, Joey. And when him and JTG, and I watched JTG from when he was working at the daycare at the gym. He's another one, just self-made man. He made himself who he is today. So he was buddies and we were doing the, training together before he got called up. But Chad said, no, I'm going to get you a spot. Joe, get you a spot. So it was all his doing. They knew that they're getting brought up and doing these vignettes. So everybody in those vignettes, it's 100%. It's Shad looked at somebody, he's like, you're a good dude. I'm going to get you on TV. So that's exactly what he did. He's like, I'm getting you a spot, Joey. So got me a good spot and they beat me senseless, stole my wallet. But yeah, he is awesome. Like I said, even like he's best friends with my mom and everything. And he's just looks like such a scary guy when you see him, but he's just the most gentle, friendly, nicest guy that you could imagine. So yeah, it's definitely nothing but nice things to say about him. And he's the reason I got to be beaten up on Raw, which was a huge moment for me. Yeah.
So sad, man. He's really, really sadly missed.
Yeah.
Like, as
Yeah.
a father myself, I don't know if have you got children.
Yeah, yeah. I got one little guy, Grayson Wayne Carolan. So I'm obsessed with Batman.
Grayson, yeah.
Grayson, yep, Grayson Wayne Carolan, yeah.
Just as a parent, man, when he passed away, obviously doing what he did to
Yeah,
save
yeah. Like I said,
both of
he
them was
saved his son before he went. Yeah, he saved his son.
devastating.
So yeah, yeah,
Devastating, man. But no, thank you for letting me know a bit about Shad. He was always one of my favorites. I loved Crime Time, and I'd always heard
yeah.
great stories about him. So it's great to hear
Awesome. Oh
even
yeah, yeah,
now. Also, man. So I wanted to. We've talked about the present. We've talked about the past. How about the future? Because I know that you're not. Well, obviously COVID hasn't helped, but I know you're not wrestling as much as you used to. You've been wrestling for 24 years.
hmm
Probably I imagine coming to sort of like the twilight of your career. So like, what does the future
It's
hold for you?
yeah. So I always said I would never like retire because there's so many guys that like say, "Oh, I'm 30 now, I'm going to retire. Oh, I'm 31 now, I'm going to retire." So I don't think it'll ever be an official retire. It'll be an official last all nighters match, I think, because Robin Nightwing, the Sexy Monkey, he's one that's more on the like semi-retired line. I do shows, but I don't go crazy doing shows like every weekend. I do maybe once a month. So I got a show coming up in Colchester for School of Slam Wrestling with Paul Tyrell, who I've wrestled literally probably 100 times. But yeah, it's the body's starting to hurt a little bit. So, I don't want to go too crazy. And the other thing is when you have a kid, that's when it changed. When I had a kid, I'm like, some of this could really kill me. And I've had other friends that die in the ring. There's one of my friends, Wayne Van Dyke, he was 30, 32 or 33, and he just died in the ring. And that's one of the times where I'm like, oh, I've got a kid now. One of my good friends just died in the ring. And that kind of changes your perspective on it. So I'm like, I'm going to slow down. I'm not going to not do it because I feel that I'm still in a position where I can do some stuff, but I'm not going to go crazy with it. And then like the action figures, like I said, the top of the mountain for me, like that's the epitome of it. So I'm like, okay, this is it. I've got what I wanted out of wrestling. So I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to do anything too crazy. Although I may be in a cage match next month, but I mean,
Nothing too crazy.
yeah, yeah, just a
Just a
cage
cage
match.
match,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But it is like, yeah, I'm slowing it down. I don't think there'll be an official Joey Knight retirement match, honestly, but I will slow it down. And then one day, I think unknowingly, I'll be like, oh, I guess that was my last match. Yeah. Hopefully, it's not because I hurt myself. Hopefully, it's just because
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm satisfied. Yeah.
Go out on your own terms. That's important.
Yeah.
Go out on
Yeah.
your own
Yeah.
terms.
That's it. Yeah,
Absolutely.
and not say no just because there's a milestone that you hit a certain age or something like that. Just walk away from it when you feel right. It's the right time. So it's getting there. I'm sure it's getting there, but I still got a couple more left in me. Yeah.
Yeah, like when I was looking through like your Twitter and your Instagram and that just to see what you've been up to recently or any shows coming up or any shows coming up soon. I didn't really find much, but I saw that you do a lot of traveling, don't you? Like, is traveling something that you're passionate about? You seem to do
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot more like family oriented things.
That's it. And one of the jobs I had in the many jobs, I worked on a cruise ship or Royal Caribbean cruises for a couple of years, and that's where you just like literally you see the world. So I was doing entertainment on there. So you do a couple months on the cruise ship, and then I do 2 months off where I just wrestle. So I lived in Tampa and I did wrestling for 2 months straight, and then I go on the cruise ship for a couple months and then do wrestling for 2 months straight. Um, and that's where I kind of got the bug to travel. So I've just been seeing the world. And like you said, if you look at my Instagram and Twitter, it's like I'm in Florida, I'm in Canada, I was in Germany, I was here. So it is a thing. Like, yeah, now that we have a family, it's more family oriented. But I mean, yeah, there's tons of travel involved, and us being, like I said, sometimes I live in Florida, sometimes I live in England. Uh, the sexy monkey Robin Nightwing lives in Baltimore. My mom lives in Canada. My other brother lives in Canada. So there's lots. Like we try to get the family together because we have kids now. So it's nice to see all the kids together. But I mean, it takes a lot of traveling, so we'll meet up here and there. COVID didn't help, but yeah, we're now that COVID's kind of on the way out. We're gonna do some more big group meetings. We're gonna go to like California. We got on the cars. We're gonna probably will move back to Florida because it's kind of miserable weather-wise in Manchester. So losing my tan. Yeah.
You mentioned like traveling and stuff like that and things going
Uh-huh.
on over your side of the world and like this might be me being a little bit I don't know not ignorant but naive. I don't know much about Thanksgiving because obviously we're in the UK. Is Thanksgiving something that
Uh-huh.
you guys like? Are you in Canada now?
I'm in Manchester right now.
You're in Manchester right now.
Yeah, like Canada does October, so I usually get a couple of Thanksgivings because I'm Canadian, but I lived in the States. So October is Canadian Thanksgiving, so we usually do October Thanksgiving. November is the American Thanksgiving. So usually, yeah, I usually like just get the most out of it, get the most turkey I can. But yeah, we'll have an American Thanksgiving and a Canadian Thanksgiving, all the Thanksgivings, and then Christmas turkey all day long. Yeah, so that's it. Like Canada kind of sees what the States is doing and then pretends it's their idea, but puts it like a month or a couple days ahead. So there's 4th of July in America, and then Canada's like, oh well, we have Canada Day, and it's July 1st, and we do fireworks and hot dogs. And then uh America does Thanksgiving, so Canada's like, well, we have that too, but we do it in October. So yeah, so I lucked out and I get to celebrate all of it with the
Yeah, it just dawned on me a few minutes ago. It's like, oh my god, it's Thanksgiving today, isn't it? It's the 25th
yeah,
of
yeah, it
November
is.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to
Better get some
anybody
turkey.
in
Yeah.
America watching. Yeah, for us it's literally
Yeah.
just Christmas. We don't have nearly as many like public holidays as America or Canada.
No.
We have
Yeah,
all of the
that's it.
same ones like Easter and all that kind of stuff, but we have a lot more bank holidays than you guys.
Yeah.
I think we have them like all throughout the year. So yeah, no,
You got your pancake. You got your pancake day and your bonfire night. We don't have those.
Pancake Day, Bonfire Night, Valentine's Day. I think that's worldwide, isn't it? Valentine's Day.
That's worldwide. That one. Yeah, yeah.
St. George's Day, St. Patrick's Day. I know that
Oh,
you guys have that as well.
St. Patrick's Day. We got not St. George's Day, so maybe that's one for you.
May
So you
Day.
guys got St. George's Day. You got Pancake Day. You got bonfire night.
Yeah, we've got May
You got a
Day.
couple different ones. Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Was it?
a few
Yeah.
scattered around. We don't get them very often.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Right, I wanted to do something new. I've not done this before. I want to introduce just like a really quick fire round. I'm just going to throw a few questions at you. Just answer them as short or as long as you want. Honestly, it's absolutely fine, but they're just going to be really short questions just to get to know you a little bit more and about like your background and your interests and things like that, okay?
Wicked. Yeah, yeah. Let's do
Awesome.
it.
So I think I've got them all written down. Yeah, I think they're all wrestling related. So start off nice and easy, nice and obvious. Who for you is the greatest of all time? Maybe
Yeah,
five.
I'm gonna say Hogan. I'm gonna say Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan's got all of it together. I used to be like a real Shawn Michaels guy. I know I was trained by the Hearts, but I think Hogan's got the best mix of everything.
Okay.
Gonna say
Yeah, yeah.
it.
I can agree with that, absolutely. Okay, greatest of all time manager.
Bobby Heenan, and he was the nicest human being when I met him. He went to OVW and he was the coolest, funnest guy, and he didn't have to be because he was Bobby Heenan, but he was so nice and so giving. So yeah, Bobby Heenan.
Another one that I was devastated when we lost, man. It's been a rough couple
Yeah,
of years, hasn't it? That rough few years
yeah.
for who we've lost. Okay. Your favorite opponent.
My
The
favorite opponent, my brother. When I wrestled my brother, we just beat each other senseless, and you don't have to apologize because you're brothers. So you're like, sorry. Yeah. Usually get the most injured when
it's
I
your
wrestle
job.
too, but
It's your job. You
yeah,
have to hurt each
exactly.
other. You're brothers.
Got to. Yeah.
Your favorite place or venue that you've wrestled in?
Um, I did the Crystal Palace. One of our first shows in the UK was Crystal Palace outside of London, and that was cool because it was just that was the first show overseas we did. First mega show was filmed for TV. I think it was FWA was the promotion, and it was like the one with the stage and the lasers, and there's all these international stars there. So that was probably the coolest experience for us because it's the first time where it was like big time. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Dream opponent. I know you said Hogan was your greatest of all time, but dream opponent that you think you'd like mesh with and have a 5-star match with.
Owen Hart, I'd say. Owen Hart. That'd be cool. If I could put together a match, yeah. I'd
Yeah.
have a really good one with Owen Hart. That'd be awesome.
Okay. WWF or WCW? What side were you?
WWF. I was always a WWF guy. I do have love for WCW, but I mean, if I had to choose, like just like now, I'd say WWF. Yeah.
Awesome. No, I'd be the same. Stone Cold or The Rock?
I'd say The Rock. He's just got that little bit of an edge, charisma wise, just a little bit more. I'd say. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Rock.
yeah. No, I can agree. I've asked that pretty much to all of my guests, and I think like it's at the moment it's like Austin 3, The Rock 50. Like everybody goes for The Rock,
Yeah.
which is it makes me feel bad for Austin because I'm Austin. I'm one of those
Yeah.
that goes for Austin.
Yeah, like I said it's a close one, but yeah, I think The Rock just got that little bit more.
Yeah, man. Fair enough, fair enough. And then the final one, your dream wrestling dinner party with any 3 guests, past or present.
Oh, ooh, that's good. Okay.
It's a tough one as well. I tried to do mine and I was there for ages.
I would say I'm gonna do weird ones. Okay, if it's a party, it's gonna be Marty Jannetty because Marty Jannetty is like he knows how to party for sure. Uh, let's see. Who's got good stories? Marty Jannetty, Virgil. Virgil, yeah, Virgil, and I'm just gonna get weird with it. And Giant Gonzalez. So I like my weird.
Okay.
I want it to be a party. Yeah, yeah. Giant
Not what I
Gonzalez
was
be throwing
expecting.
Virgil across the table. Marty Jannetty will be partying. Virgil will be getting into trouble, fighting with people. And then Giant Gonzalez would clear the table. When we're all done, we'll just throw them all out.
That should have been a faction. That should have been a faction at some
Oh,
point.
it should have been a faction. What would the name of that be?
Oh,
I have to figure that out.
definitely like the oddities or something like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
2.0.
yeah.
I don't know. Okay, fair enough. I don't want to go to that dinner party. that sounds crazy. I'm
Mix it out.
scared.
It's gonna be fun. Yeah.
I'm scared of it. Awesome, man. Right, I want to end on the same question in this indie wrestling spotlight series that I'm doing. I'm asking everybody the same question at the end just to wrap up. It's basically like put yourself over. So why, if people don't already know Joey Knight, should they be paying attention to you? Any shows that you've got coming up, just let them know why. What it is about Joey Knight that makes Joey Knight Joey Knight.
Joey Knight is your favorite wrestler, favorite movie star, favorite action figure. I've got my own merch. I'm going to be in a cage. Like I said, I'm very likely to be booked in a cage match. I won't spill anything, but it's very likely I'm going to be in a cage match December in Colchester, December 12th. School of Slam. I'm always going to be popping up in movies. I'm in this movie on Netflix called Stay Close, where I actually get to wear these wrestling tights. So there's a scene where they needed some weird people, and I'm wearing the same clothes as my action figure. So you'll definitely be able to notice me in my bright pink spandex. What else? Because I have my own action figure, yeah. And I'm in tight with Chella Toys, and I happen to know the lineup for their series 3 of the Wrestling Megastars, and it is like insane. I signed a non-disclosure agreement, so they'll shoot now if I say anything. But it is nuts what I have been privy to. So that's exactly why you want to hang out with me. If you want to know the toys that are coming out, I'm your guy.
Awesome, man. Brilliant. Thank you so much, Joey. It's been an absolute pleasure. Before I let you go, though, where can people find you on social media? What are like your handles and channels and things like that?
Look out All Nighters. All Nighters Insta on Instagram. All Nighters on Twitter. All Nighters on Facebook. If you want to get your own Joey Knight figure before they're all gone, it's tinyurl.com/Joey Knight Toys. If you want a Joey t-shirt, it's wrestletees.co.uk. So that's all your Joey merch. And yeah, look up All Nighters and you'll see this smiling face shilling my toy endlessly.
You've got to, man. You've got to. You've got to be your own. You've got to be your own dog, haven't you?
That's it, exactly.
Fantastic. Awesome, Joey. Like I said, man, it's been an absolute pleasure. Guys, thank you so much for watching and listening. If you've enjoyed this, please make sure you hit the subscribe button on YouTube, the follow button on any audio platforms. In the description, I'm going to put all the links to all of Joey's social media and to his Wrestle Tees and to the figure website as well. So make sure you check all of that out. Thank you once again, and I hope to see you next time on It's My Wrestling Podcast Indie Wrestling Spotlight Series.